Hey, today I'm going to show you the Lancastrian side, the Lancastrian army that I'm putting together for my Mortimer's Cross this Friday. The refight of Mortimer's Cross. I've already put up a video about the Yorkist army, and here is the Lancastrian army in all its glory. It is 6 feet long. That is how much space the army takes up on the tabletop. So it's a massive army. Um, in real life, this was approximately a little more than 3,000 men. So that is what it represents. The York's side had approximately 3,000, so the Lancastrians possibly had a few more. And here in the center, we have Jasper Tudor himself and his ward behind him. Here we have Jasper Tudor. I've given him his heraldic shield, and I've given his bannerman the same. This, of course, was the shield that he was granted by King Henry because he was the king's half brother. They had the same mother. So Jasper Tudor is a fairly good captain. He has a D10 as his command dice. The model itself is mostly from, I can't remember what manufacturer that is, but the horse of the head, the horse's head is a Perry one. The arm and the head as well are Perry's. And this one is a converted Viking dude with a head of a Perry miniature. I like that some of my dudes have a little bit older style mixed in with the modern salad style of armor. It makes it look more real, in my opinion. Right. Let's go and see Jasper's ward. It is here in all its glory. First, we have his retinue. Here, they are like some of the Yorkist units. They are in full armor, so they will ignore the first casualty if their archers are not at the front. The archers need to be moved to the back, which means they'll be shooting over their own dudes and be less effective. In general, actually, the archers of the Lancastrians and Mortimer's Cross were not as effective as the York archers. They didn't have as many archers as the Yorkists did. So some shooting there in his retinue unit. It's a good unit. It's a very solid unit. But if we look down the line, you'll see that there are more units that sort of drops off a little bit. We have some Pembroke yeomen here. These are mostly his tenants and stuff. They've gotten a blue color. It's not because that's the color of Pembroke at all, but it was one of the units that I had painted up. Here we have a monk waving the blue flag here. And they also have a bunch of archers at the front. But if we go down the line, here we have two Welsh levies, so Pembroke Welsh levy spearmen and Tenby spearmen. These spearmen, again, I ran out of longbows, so this is some crossbowmen borrowed from my friend Michael's collection, as are the spearmen down behind, but they will work nicely as well. So these two units have way less shooting than the other units do. There are simply fewer archers in the units, and the spears, they will work decently as a defensive unit, but they are not great offensive units. So, for instance, if we go back and look at this unit, in close combat, this unit will roll 4 dice, but the spears over here only roll 3 dice in close combat. The retinue has 2 dice in shooting. The spearman only has 1 dice in shooting. So they are less effective, this unit here. And that is because most of the army of Jasper at Mortimer's Cross was mainly fresh levies, and he had already exhausted his lands of levies. So it was difficult for him. He got a fair number of men, but they were not trained, they were not well suited, whereas the Yorksters had had training all winter. Now, supporting him, we have his father, Owen Tudor, over here. Owen, Owen is, of course, accompanied by his banner bearer. He is wearing his older armor. Owen, as a young man, may actually have fought at Agincourt, the great battle in France. So he wears a bit of an older style of armor because he's an older man. And his banner bearer as well bears an old style of chainmail here. He is an average captain. He has D8 as his command dice. In Blood and Horse Drubbings, you need to roll 4 or more. So he has a little bit better than 50% chance of making his command rolls, which is, average for these guys. He has, of course, as all of these guys do, he has a retinue unit, which is a fairly good unit again. There's a bunch of dudes in there that have full armor, but there's also some that don't. And then the archers at the front. In, of course, the red and white colors of Owen himself. Next to them, we have a spear company from one of the Welsh cities. This one has, again, not longbows here, but they are supposed to represent longbows, right? So it has a little bit of shooting, not many. And then going down the line, the quality drops off. These two spear companies on the flank here don't even have any bows. They are just there for close combat. They are the peasants who've been pushed into service from the Welsh lands. They have mostly spears, but there is a few command figures. You can see those standing down the line, but mostly they're just peasants with spears. Look at these guys at the back here. Thinking about running away, I bet. Right, so again, a little bit of a larger ward here. That's 4 companies, as is Jasper's 4 companies. Now, most of the Yorksters, if you watch that video, you'll know that the Yorksters have 3 companies in their wards. That's the extra bit that the Lancastrian gets. They get more companies per ward, but they have less shooting in their wards. So a bit of a tactical dilemma for both sides what to do. Final ward we have is over here. This is James Butler, Earl of Wiltshire, looking flashy in his yellow coat here. James was famous for being very, very pretty, like one of the handsomest men in England for his time, and he was also famous for running away from battles. He participated at Mortimer's Cross with a bunch of mercenaries from Ireland and from France. But he, of course, has a retinue unit. This is not a quality unit like the other retinues. This is less of one. It only has 3 close combat dice and 1 of shooting, so it is a downsized retinue because he was not a fighter at all. So his retinue company, of course, needs to be a little bit, less. And next to it, we have Irish. 2 versions of Irish. We have the Gallowglass, early Gallowglasses here, with a large axes and a couple of spears in there. Some old style armor and shields as well. These are good in close combat though, and they ignore terrain, so they can run through terrain, which is one of the huge deficits of armies in Blood and Horse Droppings, that terrain really does not, the units really don't like terrain, but the Irish can ignore it. So the Gallowglasses are close combat fighters. They have 4 dice in close combat, same as the big retinues. And then we have Kerns, so the lesser warriors of the Irish. We have a couple of distance fighters here, so a couple of slingers and a bowman and a crossbowman over here, with some, hand weapons in the mix. These again can ignore terrain, but they can also shoot a bit. They're less deadly than the Gallowglasses over here, but still they are a unit that can fight. And finally, we have his elite unit, here on the right, these are his French-Breton mercenaries. These actually have crossbows, so they are slow firing. They take an action to reload, but they have a decent range and a decent fighting capability. And the well armored French Pavis men at the back with the long spears, they can negate the charge bonus of the enemy, and because of the Pavises, they ignore the first casualty. This is his elite unit. This is the unit that can actually take damage and deal it as well. So, but defensive. So he has very different units in his ward. Again, it's a ward of 4 units, and yeah. The final one, nobleman that is in this large Lancastrian army is down here. This is Sir John Throckmorton. He participated in the battle and was actually executed afterwards by Edward. He was captured along with Owen Tudor. This is the Throckmorton flag. The figure is just a stand-in because I didn't make a Throckmorton for this battle. But, any figure will do. He was a minor noble. We know very little about him. He only has a D8. Oh, and by the way, I didn't tell you this, but James Butler, the Earl of Wiltshire, has a D6. He is that bad. So, but he can re-roll his dice as long as he's not in close combat, because he's also a coward. So this is the army in all its Lancastrian glory. Let us see Friday if they can rewrite history and defeat Edward of York at the Battle of Mortimer's Cross. Cheers.